Hello everybody and welcome to the channel, Out of Ammo, Out of Time. I'm your host Krabby Terror 8 and here we are in part 8 of the Investigator Games Season 2 with Zoe Samaras, everybody's crazy chef, going through the Midnight Masks. Yes, and here we are again. Now for those of you who are new to the Investigator Games, don't know what it's about, never heard of it before, what the hell is this? Then it's a bit like the Hunger Games, you might say. But the difference is we take each investigator true solo through Arkham Horror the card game, through a scenario, and we see how they go. Now, depending on how they go, they end up in a league table, a little bit like this one. This shows how all the investigators have gone so far. Now, this is an aggregate of scores because all of the investigators have gone through the gathering. So this is taking their gathering victory points and now adding in the Midnight Mask victory points. And as we can see at the moment, Roland is top of the table. He did very, very well. And we can see that Jenny Barnes has rocketed into second place. She did pretty well. She was defeated. Oops, spoilers. She was defeated last week, but she did very well nevertheless. Now, as I said, if you haven't seen these investigators struggle through the gathering solo, I would encourage you to do that first, and then you can come back and have a look at these. If you've never played Arkham Horror the card game before, I would encourage you to go and watch the gathering ones first and seek out other introductory material. I'm assuming you know the Midnight Masks well, so this isn't an instruction guide to the Midnight Masks. So yes, I attempted to have a chat to Zoe in the trailer. Thank you, Miss Catonic Trailer Hire, once again. As my first conversation with her in the green room during the gathering didn't go well, as we all know, this one wasn't really much better. Zoe's a little bit more unhinged, if anything, from last time. She took a bit of mental trauma during the gathering. And so let's just say that my attempts to try and interview her ended up with me running Benny Hill style around the trailer while she chased me with a carving knife until security stepped in and escorted her, shall we say, quite assertively over to the house to begin the scenario. So once again, I didn't really get much of a chance to chat to Zoe. She's difficult to have a conversation with at the best of times. Yeah, that did make it a little bit difficult. So she didn't come to the party, actually. We had a pre-Midnight Mask party. She wasn't actually there either, so I was a little bit concerned for her. So I was glad that she actually did turn up in a clean set of clothes. So that was something, I guess. So we will see how she goes. She, as I said, she didn't have a great gathering experience. She did get the Smite the Wicked, and she did take some mental trauma. So I'm hoping she'll do better in this particular time. So let's just go around the board and just discuss everything. As I said, she's currently rocking 2 mental trauma, and her mental, she's on 6, so she's a little bit low on that. She's got her 5 resources, of course. Now her stat line is pretty good on willpower and fight. She's pretty good at those willpower tests, and obviously she's pretty good at fighting, as we would expect, but she's not an evasion kind of person, as we wouldn't expect that from Zoe. So she's in there and she's fighting, and she's not great clue gatherer, which is going to be a problem because, of course, getting clues is one of the key things that you need to do in the Midnight Masks. So she does have some things in her deck, we'll have a look at it in a second, which help with that. But that's probably the biggest issue for Zoe, is just getting the particular clues that are required. So I think we're going to be doing things like using our resources where we can to get the extra clues back up in Northside. doing whatever we can to get clues. And I think, you know, killing or intimidating these cultists is going to be the order of the day for Zoe. No question about that. So the main thing is she doesn't need to win the Midnight Mass. She just needs to get victory points. That's how the investigator games works. So she should be okay from that perspective. After you become engaged with an enemy, she gains a resource. So she has a resource engine there, which is good. We're going to need that. And she gets her Elder Sign is +1. And if this skill test is successful during an attack, that attack deals +1 damage. God has spoken. I will do his work without hesitation. Okay. So that's Zoe stat line. In terms of her revised deck, we can have a look at it here. I'll just publish this up on Arkham DB. So she had 4 experience. So her starter deck was a sort of a strange amalgamation of mystic cards and Guardian cards. That was just what she was given as her starter deck by FFG. I mean, it might have been nice to have shortcuts or other things. So what I've really essentially done is what I've done with all of these investigators with their starter decks is really just try and bolster them up. So so she's I've given her 2 45 automatics and 2 machetes because she had the kukri and the blackjack. So I took those out and gave her 2 45 automatics and 2 machetes. I took out the guard dog and gave her 2 beat cops. And I also gave her an extra vicious blow and took out teamwork, which of course is useless in solo. So basically it wasn't really a case of upgrading things. It was more about filling holes and things rather in that way. So I feel like the deck is better than it was before and is definitely on the more aggressive side, but I've improved her weaponry and given her a vicious blow and 2 big cops, so hopefully that will improve things for her. It says here hypochondria is her weakness. That's actually not right. I've changed it since then. It was actually draw the circle. So that's just changed. The only other things are she didn't defeat the Ghoul Priest, so he will be in the deck. And also she had no resolution, so she does have Leader Chandler in her deck as well. Okay, so that's Zoe's deck as it stands. If we just go up to the actual playboard here. Here she is at the house. So we've got two south sides. So we'll just randomize those and take one out. Same with downtown. We'll do the same thing. Randomize them up. And take one out. Okay, so then we're ready to roll here. I can just flip this one. So she's at the house with 1 clue, ready to roll here. So I'll just move these to up here into, well, not the discard pile, but to set them aside. Now the Ghoul Priest goes into the encounter deck because he wasn't defeated. So that's something we can look forward to. And indeed, here is the cultist deck, so we'll shuffle that up as well. Yeah, and we're here in turn 1. No Doom, obviously, the encounter deck. So I think all that's left to do now really is, and then the other thing, of course, is that it's standard difficulty. So we will just have a little look at that. So there we go. There's the standard difficulty draw from the Chaos bag as well. So that's all fine. Okay, so let's, all we need to do now is read the agenda in the Act deck and we can get going. So the agenda deck is Predator or Prey. Lita seems convinced of a conspiracy within the city of Arkham. She believes that a secret cult serves the ghouls that live in the crypts beneath the city, and that several of the cult's prominent members are scattered throughout Arkham. As you begin searching for them, you can't shake the feeling that you too are being hunted. resign. You don't want to risk taking too long, so you head to safety with the information you've gathered. Now, given our kind of fairly shaky mental capabilities here, we might be resigning sooner rather than later. We'll see how we go. And then the other side, Act 1, is uncovering the conspiracy and finding funny-shaped diamonds in skulls on roads. You have one night to find the members of this cult and unveil their plan. The more members of the cult you can find and interrogate before midnight, the better. The investigators spend 2 clues per investigator as a group. Draw the top card of the cultist deck. Find as many unique cultist enemies as you can and add them to the victory display. If there are 6 unique cultist enemies in the victory display, that'll be the day. Advance. Note, not all 6 of them are in the cultist deck. Okay, so that's the agenda and the act. So I think this is on 1 player. It is, yeah. So we can move back down to good old Zoe, and we are ready to roll.
Okay, let's draw and see what we get. So what do we want? What do we want? What do we want? Well, yes, so we definitely want a weapon. Machete, something like that. We definitely want a ally, and in this case, I think it would be nice to get somebody like Leo DeLuca or the big cop. Either would be good. And some way to discover clues is the other thing that we need. So let's shuffle up, draw our 5 cards, see what we get. And okay, well, we got Leader Chandler, so that's something. We got Zoe's Cross, we got a machete, so those are both good. Do we keep Leader Chandler? I guess Leader Chandler's good in some ways, but it would be nice to get Leo. So what I might do is I might throw these in, because if we can get Leo, that's going to make a big difference. Let's throw in these 3 and draw another 3 cards and see if we can draw into... No, we don't. We don't draw into Leo, but that's all right. That's all right. We'll shuffle those up. Okay, so this is our hand. That's reasonably okay. I'm not too unhappy with this. So... yeah, so here we are at the house. Now we can, of course, draw a card and gain a resource from there, which is nice. So first action, I'm going to spend 1 and bring out Zoe's Cross. Second action, I'm going to spend 3 and bring out the machete. And third action, I'm going to take a resource and draw a card, which I know you shouldn't draw a card on your third action, but what the hell. Okay, so there we go. That's our first and opening setup round. So not bad. I just wish we had a bit more ways to get clues. That's probably the biggest thing that we're sort of missing. A flashlight, something like that. So, but apart from that, pretty good start. We've got the machete down and we've got Zoe's Cross down, so that's pretty good. Okay, so we'll move into the enemy phase. There are of course no enemies to speak of, so we move into upkeep. Let's flip these over, give ourselves a resource, draw ourselves a card, and perfect, Rite of Seeking. Fantastic. So we can that's great. That's exactly what we need. Okay, so that's our prayers have been answered. But before we get to that, we've got the good old Mythos phase. So let's pop up to the Mythos area. Second turn, first Doom down on the table. Let's give the little encounter deck a bit of a shuffle. There we go. Bit of a shuffle, don't know what's going on there. And let's see what the good old encounter deck has for us. And we start with, of course we do, we start with an Acolyte. Well, let's put the Acolyte into Rivertown. Yes, that's probably the best place to put the Acolyte, because we'll want to get rid of the Acolyte reasonably quickly, and it'll be easy for us to kill that Acolyte now that we have got what we've got. Okay. Fantastic. So that's the end of the Mythos phase. So we move back into the investigation phase. 3 actions onto Zoe. Now, we are still at the house. And we can insta-kill this Acolyte because we've got Zoe's Cross. So first thing I'm going to do is we need 4 for this Rite of Seeking. I mean, it's a 2 and we are a 2, so the chances of getting it is kind of slim. And I think we can use this fairly often. I think we can use it once per turn. So we used it last turn and we can use it again. So let's go ahead and get another resource and draw another card. Dodge. So that's our first action. Our second action is to spend those 4 resources and bring out the old Rite of Seeking. Very nice. And our final action will be to, I guess, investigate. So we can use one of these to investigate. So that's, sorry, that should have been that. So we took a resource and drew a card. We then played Rite of Seeking. And now we're going to investigate using the Rite of Seeking. So we're using willpower. So we're a 4. I don't want to use that yet because that heals horror. Dodge, I don't think we need that at the moment. So let's make it a 5 versus a 2. So a -3 or better. Chaos Bag gives us a -1. So we succeed and we get the clue. Fantastic. Okay, that's great. That's the clue. That's good. So what we'll look to do next time is get into Rivertown, kill the Acolyte, which is an insta-kill, and then we'll get that second clue, which is it's only a 1 shroud, so we should be able to do that relatively easily, and then we can get the first cultist down on the table. So that was pretty good round for us. We drew a card, gained a resource, played the Rite of Seeking, and successfully got the clue from the house. Fantastic. So let's move into the enemy phase. Well, there is an enemy, but doesn't do anything. So let's move into the upkeep phase. Flip these, take a resource, draw a card. And we get the Holy Rosary, which is a great card. Unfortunately, we can't have Zoe's Cross and the Holy Rosary out at the same time. So it really comes down to which one is better for us. I think the way things are at the moment, I think Zoe's Cross is preferable at the moment. Okay. So let's move into the Mythos phase. So let's shift up to here. Here we are. So let's put another third turn that we're in. Doom number 2. So let's see what the good old encounter deck has for us this time. And the encounter deck has for us an obscuring fog, which attached to your location. So that's a real easy pass because we're not going to be using that. So let's just put it behind. It's unlikely we'll be back there. But there's a fog that's surrounding the house. But luckily we found our clue, so we don't need to worry about that. So that was a nice little easy mythos. So we've had a couple of easy mythos phases so far, which is great. That's good. Okay, let's move into the good old investigation phase. So here we are. Zoe's got 3 actions. So the first action we're going to do is we are going to move, of course. We're going to move up to Rivertown, which means the oops. Don't know why my computer's a little bit scrappy at the moment. So, but anyway, we will move down to put this down. The Acolyte. Now, what we do is we take a resource, of course, for engaging, but then we exhaust Zoe's Cross, which means and we spend that resource and we deal damage to the Acolyte, and the Acolyte is dead, and the Doom is gone. Very nice. That's a very quick, efficient way of doing it. So our second action, we're going to investigate Rivertown, which of course, I should have flipped that over, I do apologise. And of course Rivertown is a shroud of 1 with 1 clue. So we can go ahead and investigate that. I don't know that we need the Rite of Seeking. 1 versus 2. Do we see if we can get it with a -? I think we can. Let's give it a go and let's see if we do it. Okay, investigate -1 or better, and we get a -4, so we fail. Do we? I think we try again. Let's see if we can get it, and we get a Elder Sign, so we succeed. So there we go. We get the second clue. Okay, so things didn't go quite according to plan that go. We moved and insta-killed the Acolyte, which we needed to do. We then investigated Rivertown and failed, and we investigated again and succeeded. So all good. So next time we can bring out the first cultist. So a little bit late, but better late than never. So we move into the enemy phase. There are, of course, no enemies on the table. So let's move into the upkeep phase. Let's flip little coins, take a resource, draw a card, and we get first aid, which I don't really need at the moment, but you never know. I'm keen to get this physical training out. I mean, our resources are a little bit low to use physical training, but if we engage enough enemies, it can really help, particularly in terms of fight, or we get those nasty willpower kinds of cards. Whoops. Okay. So that's the end of the upkeep phase, so we can move into the Mythos phase. Let's shift back up to this area here. We're already in turn 4, Doom 3, so we're halfway through the first act. So let's see what the lovely encounter deck has for us this time. And it has Mysterious Chanting. 2 doom on this cultist enemy. There aren't. If there are no cultist enemies, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a cultist enemy, draw it. So what I'm going to do is just go back to the discard pile. Hello? Oh, why isn't it there? We deleted the Acolyte. So where did it go? That's a little bit strange. I assumed when you hit the delete button that it put things in the... Is it in the set aside? No? Oh, that's the cultist deck, sorry. Is it in the... What would it be? Doesn't matter. So what we'll do is we will, because it doesn't matter where it comes from, so let's look in the encounter deck. If anyone can tell me what happens if you hit delete, because I just assumed they went into the discard pile, but that's clearly not the case. So we're down south side. Put that Acolyte in south side. We will draw a Doom token. Let's look at this again. And draw it. Okay. That's no biggie. That's no big problem at all. Okay, so that's the end of the Mythos phase. So we move into the investigation phase, 3 actions. So our first action will be to go ahead and investigate. No, not investigate. What am I saying? First action will be to spend these 2 clues. There we go. And see which cultist we get. So let's go up here. Let's shuffle up the set-aside cultist deck. Who do we get as the first cultist? And we get good old Peter Warren. Spend 2 clues and parley with Peter, if we want to. So we will drop him here at Miskatonic University. So he is here, so we can either kill him, it would be fairly easy for us to kill, or we can spend 2 clues, which we don't currently have. So that's our first action. So we could just go ahead and just, because we do 2 points of damage. So we can't kill him because we would move and we would then... Yeah, you can't kill him instantly. So maybe the best thing is that we move to south side, because this might actually be something that we want. And here we have the Hysterical Society, so it's not quite what I was after. But this means that the Acolyte is dead. Because, again, we use Zoe's Cross, and the Acolyte is dead. I'll use the discard this time, and delete the Doom. There we go. So that was our second action. And then I think for our third action, we'll use the once in a lifetime opportunity and draw the 3 cards. Yes, I know we shouldn't be drawing 3 cards on our final action, but I'm doing it anyway. What the hell? And of course, I'm paid for that because we've got Smite the Wicked. Okay, so Smite the Wicked has come out. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Probably here at downtown is probably the furthest away, I would say. So we will put Smite the Wicked here at downtown. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck. Let's see what we get. Oh my goodness. And we end up with the Ghoul Priest at downtown. Oh, wow, it's all happening here. I'm going to put Ghoul Priest as Hunter, so I'm going to put them together. So we have the Ghoul Priest at downtown. Things have just got very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. But we got a Vicious Blow and we got a Dynamite Blast. First day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we got lots of good cards. So hopefully we can use those. So... oh boy, so we now have Peter Warren here, we've got the Ghoul Priest here, and we're here in downtown, so things are going to get very interesting. Yes, so yes, anyway, I can see an opportunity to use the, if the Ghoul Priest comes down to be with Peter Warren at Miskatonic University, then I think we can dynamite the pair of them. I think that's probably the way to go. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the clue here. I'm going to move to St. Mary's Hospital, and the Ghoul Priest will move, and then once they're both at Miskatonic University, I think we just dynamite them. I think that's what we do. Seems to make sense to me. So maybe the Smite the Wicked wasn't such a bad choice after all. We'll see how we go. Okay, so that's the end of the investigation phase. We move into the enemy phase. So it is the enemy phase. So yes, indeed, immediately the Ghoul Priest. Now the Ghoul Priest has 2 choices here. The Ghoul Priest could move this way to East Town and then down to me. 1, 2, 3. Or could move the other way. 1, 2, 3. It's equally both ways. Bugger it, I'm going to get them to move. I'm going to get the Ghoul Priest to move to North Side because I can. Try and stop me. Okay, so the Ghoul Priest moves to North Side. Fantastic. And then we move into the upkeep phase. So we move into the upkeep phase. Whoops. Wasn't supposed to happen. Move into the upkeep phase. Flip these over. Take a resource. Draw a card. Emergency cash. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 9 cards here. So we've got to get rid of something. Oh, they're all so good. What's less likely that I'm going to use at this stage? Probably physical training. If I had to choose something, I'd probably say physical training. I'm sorry. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. Okay. So that's the end of the upkeep phase. So we move into the Mythos phase. So here we go. We're in turn 5, number 4. Now we've got to be mindful that, got to be careful because this is going to tick over in a couple of turns and then things are really going to get nasty. So it's turn 4. Let's see what the encounter deck has for us. And the encounter deck, we draw another Acolyte. We just can't get enough of these Acolytes. Well, let's put the Acolyte here because it's insta-death for an Acolyte. Thank goodness we've got Zoe's Cross. It just really makes things efficient in terms of getting rid of those acolytes. Speaking of which, I should have put that back up. There we go. Okay, so that's the end of the mythos phase. So we move into the investigation phase, 3 actions onto Zoe. And our first action, I am going to move to St. Mary's Hospital. Let's flip that over. Actually, sorry, I'm getting too excited. I'm getting ahead of myself. No. First thing I'm going to do is investigate Southside with a Shroud of 3. So it's a Shroud of 3. So our first action is to investigate Southside. Shroud of 3. We have we're a 4 willpower. I'm not going to use this, so I'm going to make that a 5 willpower. 5 versus 3, which is a -2 or better. Chaos Bag gives us a -1. So we succeed, and we get the clue there. That's Southside. Actually, yeah, it didn't matter last time because we did it on our final turn. I just don't remember what I think I pulled a number. So, but it was my final turn anyway. So, yeah. Anyway, so we only pulled a number then. So that's all fine. So that's our first action. Our second action is then to move to, is then to move over to St. Mary's Hospital. Oh, it's done that thing I wish it wouldn't do. It's the most annoying thing. There's not many things in Tabletop Simulator that annoy me, and that's one of them. I kind of understand why it does it, but it's a bit annoying. Okay, so we're a 2 Shroud, 1 Clue location, and healed 3 damage. Now, the Acolyte, again, is engaged with us. We exhaust Zoe's Cross, of course, and pay, and the Acolyte gets discarded again. So, takes a point of damage, so that's an insta piece. So what are we going to do with our final action? Our final action, I think, is an obvious one. We're going to put in emergency cash and give ourselves 3 resources, because what we are going to do is we are going to lob some dynamite to Miskatonic University. Now, I'm a big supporter of education, I have to say. It's not my normal policy to be dynamiting universities, but in this case, with ghoul priests and cultists running around, I think it's... end justifies the means and all that. So we will do that. That will be the plan for us next time. What a ton of fun, and hardly ever get to use the dynamite blast, so I can't wait to use it. Okay, so that was the end of our round. So it was pretty successful. We got a clue. We moved to the Miskatonic University, insta-killed another acolyte, and then we used emergency cash so that we've got lots of resources to dynamite blast next time. Wow, so exciting. Okay, so we move into the enemy phase, and indeed that means that the Ghoul Priest moves, and both of these move to here. So both the Ghoul Priest and Peter Warren are in Miskatonic University. And, yeah. So just trying to, that's it. So that's Peter Warren doesn't do anything. So that's the end of the enemy phase. So we move into the upkeep phase. We flip these over. We take another resource. We draw another card. And we draw into Overpower. Well, we've got, really is a lot of fighting here, which is just as well. So, and we'll just put Zoe's Cross back up. When everything's working for Zoe, things go really well, but they don't always go so well. You need to get your weaponry set up. You need to have reasonably okay, not taking too much horror. And, you know, if those things are all going well, it's fantastic. However, here we are in the Mythos phase. Things could be less than fantastic. We are now in turn 6. Doom of 5. This is going to flip next turn, so we need to be mindful of that. So this is the last round before that flips. So let's see what the lovely encounter deck has for us. This could change everything. I guess it's not actually it's not the end of the world. I thought this had messed everything up, but it's just going to move us here. We can still lob the dynamite. But anyway, let's have a look here. So test for agility. If you fail, take a damage and a horror, and then you move to a central location. We've got agility of 2, and I don't think we don't have any way of dealing with this. So we're just going to go ahead and test it. Test -4, we fail. So we take a damage and a horror. So we take 1 damage and 1 horror. And we don't have any allies yet, which is probably the most annoying thing. And then we move back to Rivertown. Oh, it didn't do it that time. It's interesting. Okay. So there we are. We're in Rivertown going, what? Huh? What happened to us? Okay. It would be nice to get an ally on the table at some stage, but so far it's not to be. Okay, so there we go. So that's the end of the mythos phase. So we move into the investigation phase. There's 3 actions. First action, we are going to use this. Choose either your location or a connecting location. Spend 5. And kaboom! The dynamite blast goes off. Peter Warren is insta-killed. I think it's 3 points, isn't it? It's not 2. It's, 3 damage. So Peter Warren is dead. Or, I don't know, dynamited to the point of giving up. So he's in the victory display. The Ghoul Priest, of course, takes 3 damage. Just need to get the damage token for the Ghoul Priest. What? What was that? Okay, 3 points. So he's only got 5 points. I keep thinking he's like the Masked Hunter, but he's only got 5 points per investigator. So yeah, he's going down. So that was our first action. Our second action, we will indeed move into Miskatonic University. We'll flip it over. 2 clues for Shroud, which means the Ghoul Priest. Whoop. Ghoul Priest and Smite the Wicked, of course, are now engaged with us. You bastard! You dynamited me! Which means we can exhaust Zoe's Cross and use that to make that a 4. Oh dear, this poor Ghoul Priest. So he's now 4. So that was our second action. So for our third action, we will machete the Ghoul Priest, I guess. So, whoops. So what are we? We're a fight of 4 with the machete, gives us a fight of 5. The Ghoul Priest is a 4, so that's 5 versus 4. So let's make that a 7 versus a 4. Don't even need to use the Vicious Blow. Let's just go for 7 versus 4. 7 versus 4. I think we're pretty safe with that. I don't want to use this, and can't use Overpower. So let's just use 7 versus 4. Chaos Bag gives us a -1. We succeed. We do 2 more points of damage to the Ghoul Priest. And so, oh, that's backwards, isn't it? There we go. Oh, still backwards. And the Ghoul Priest dies. So that's another victory. But oh my goodness, how many are these victory points? So that is another 2 victory points to Zoe. She is really on a runner here. Wow. So there we go. We get to draw a card. And what do we draw into? We draw into Clarity of Mind, which is about healing horror, which we might very well need at some stage. So that all went swimmingly well. That was amazing. So what we did was, after being dragged back to Rivertown, we threw the dynamite, which instantly killed Peter Warren. We did 3 points of damage, and it is 3 to everything, isn't it? Oops. Sorry, I just want to double check that I've never used Dynamite Blast. 3 damage to each enemy, yep. We then moved in, did another point of damage using Zoe's Cross to the Ghoul Priest, and then we macheted successfully the Ghoul Priest to death, giving us another 2 victory points. Wow. Okay. So that's the end of the investigation phase. We move into the enemy phase, and I don't think there are any enemies on the table. There aren't. So we move into the upkeep phase. So we will flip these, give ourselves a resource and draw ourselves a card. And we get the Beat Cop. A little bit late to the game, but never mind. Better late than never. The good old Zoe's Cross goes back up. There we go. Okay. So fantastic. So that's the end of the upkeep phase. So we move into the Mythos phase. This is where everything starts happening. Turn 7. This clicks over to 6, which means it goes down to 0, which means that the Mass Hunter is here. Where's my mate, the Ghoul? Oh, he's dead, no! He's not happy. He's mad. Okay, so, yep, here he is. 4 fight, 6 health, 2 evade. And you can't discover or spend clues while he's engaged with you. So there we go. That's Mass Hunter is in the house. And, oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? Okay, so let's see first of all what the encounter deck has for us. And the encounter deck has Hunting Shadow. You must either spend a clue or take 2 damage. Spend a clue or take 2 damage. Now, which do we do? This is actually a tough choice. We've got 9 health. So we've got plenty of health. So we could keep the clue. I'm thinking we do. So I think I'd take the 2 damage because we've got first aid if we really need to use it. So there we go, whacked by a Hunting Shadow. So we now move into the investigation phase. Here we go. We're not going to try and evade the... and I just realised actually I should have... when the Mass Hunter came on board, I should have exhausted Zoe's Cross. I know you're all screaming at me, and put a damage on the Mass Hunter. Sorry about that. I just forgot that in my speed to get things done. Okay. So the Mass Hunter has 5 more life that we need to drain from him using the machete. So let's go ahead and do that. So first action is we will Vicious Blow the Masked Hunter. So that gives us a 4, 5, 6. That gives us 6 versus a 4. Do we make that an 8 versus a 4? I think we do. I think we make it an 8 versus a 4. So that was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 versus a 4. Chaos Bag gives us a -1. We completely overdid that. We did 1, 2, 3 points of damage. So he's now up to 4 points of damage. So he just needs 2 more points of damage. We draw a card. And we get the flashlight. Now we get the flashlight. Okay, that was our first action. Has he got Retaliate? I think he does. No, he doesn't, thankfully. So our second action, we will machete him again. So this time, we are a 4. We're a 5 versus a 4. Do we throw in the Beat Cop or not and make it a 6? Let's just try and do 5 versus 4 and see what happens. 5 versus 4. I think we failed. I think that's a bad option, actually. -3 if you fail, place one of your clues on your location. All right. So we lost the clue anyway. Never mind. And the final action, we will do it again. I am going to throw in the Beat Cop this time. So that gives us a 4, 5, 6 versus 4. -2 or better. Chaos Bag gives us a -3. No. Oh, that's so annoying. Never mind. Okay. So things started off well, and then let's just say they didn't go so well. All right. So we move into the enemy phase. So we lose 2 health and 1 horror from the Mass Hunter. Ouch. Okay, so we move into the upkeep phase. So we'll flip these. We'll take a resource and we'll draw a card. Let's get a fight card. Oh, we do get a fight card. Oh, that's good. Okay. So hopefully this time we will be able to finish off this Masked Hunter. I can't complain. Things have been going pretty well. So let's move into the Mythos phase. So we shift up to here. So turn 8, Doom 1, 7 to go. On time is running short. Let's see what the encounter deck has for us, and it has an obscuring fog, which is going to make getting clues here rather difficult. Very difficult, I think, because that now makes it a 6. So I think we're better off taking a trip to the graveyard or going up and getting some clues at north side. One of those two. All right. 1, 2, 3. Yep. Okay. So that's the end of the Mythos phase. So we move back into the investigation phase. 3 actions. Pretty clear what we need to do here. First action, we're going to fight again. 4, 5, we'll throw in the knife and make that a 6. A 6 versus a 4. Chaos Bag gives us a -1 and we succeed and we do 2 points of damage and the Masked Hunter is dead. That's another 2 victory points. It's all about victory points in the investigator game. So we now got 5 victory points. So things are going very, very well for Zoe so far, but we're a bit worse for wear, I have to say. So my next action, I think I'm going to go up to north side. Flip north side. Now, if we have 5 resources, we can gain 2 clues, but I think what I'm going to do is we're going to need to bring out something first aid. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a resource. So we've got the 5 resources. So there we go. So that was a very successful round for Zoe. Once again, we fought the Masked Hunter again and successfully killed him. We then moved up to north side and then we took a resource. So the idea next time will be we will buy the 2 clues and we will get out the next cultist and see who they are. With any luck, it will be Wolfman Drew. But whoever it is, we should be able to dispatch with them fairly quickly. Okay, so we move into the enemy phase. There are no enemies to speak of, so we move into the upkeep phase. Let's flip these over. Let's take another resource. Let's draw a card. And we draw into our other weakness, Hypochondria. After you take 1 or more damage, take 1 direct horror. Okay. Not a good card to have, although I'm not sure what's going to do as damage at the moment, but just got to be a little bit careful with a card like that. Okay, so we move into the Mythos phase. So let's pop up here again. So we're in turn 9, 2 doom, 6 to go. So things are progressing reasonably fast. Let's see what the encounter deck has for us, and it has a Crypt Chill. Test 4, if you fail, discard an asset you control. Is that an asset? No, yes it is. So any of these, I think probably the Rite of Seeking is the one we would get rid of. 4 brains, 4 heads. Well, what are we? We are 4, so let's make it a 5, because we could get a horror back from this. So let's make that a 5. Do we make it a 6? I think we do. I think we make it a 6 versus a 4. 6 versus a 4. Chaos Bag gives us -1, so we succeed. Which means that I think we heal a... Yeah, heal a horror. So the horror goes down to 1. Very nice. Okay. Okay, so we're back to the investigation phase. So I think the first thing we do is this once-in-a-lifetime offer that we get at Northside, which is spend 5 resources and gain 2 clues. So let's spend the 5 resources, gain 2 clues. Where are the clues? The clues are up here, aren't they? Yeah, puts them quite a long way away from where we need them. There's the 2 clues. Okay. So that was our first action. Yep. For our second action, we will spend those 2 clues. We'll bring out the... Whoops. What happened then? Where did they... Oh, there they are. Well, I flung them quite a way. My computer's a bit stuttery today, and I don't know why. So there we go. Spend those 2 clues. So let's go back up to here. Shuffle this. And let's see who we bring out. And we bring out Victoria Devereaux. Oh. Of all the people, she's at Northside. Maybe we should have moved before we did that. Too late. Yeah, so Victoria Devereaux is here. Is with us. So we can exhaust Zoe's cross. And we can do her damage. There we go. And we've got 1 action left, so I think there's only one more thing to do, and that's to try and kill her. I'm never sure in this one if you're killing them or just beating them into submission. It's hard to know. So she's a 3, and we are a 4. We're a 5. So a 5 versus a 3. Chaos Bag gives us a -3, so we fail. We miss. So, never mind. Okay. So we move into the enemy phase. So she does us a damage. Ooh, getting high on damage. And when we take a damage, take a direct horror. We really need to heal up this damage. So that's, yeah, we're getting a bit high on the old damage. And we haven't got any other way of dealing with it. Okay, so upkeep. We'll flip these over. We will draw a resource and we will take a card. And we get guts. Okay. All right. Let's go up to the Mythos phase. So here we are in turn 10. 3 doom. Things are moving apace. Let's see what the encounter deck has for us. And the encounter deck has false lead. If you have no clues, it gains surge. Do it again. We get Wizard of the Order. Okay. I probably want to go to the graveyard, to be honest, after I do this, because the clues are easy there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Wizard of the Order here, because we'll deal with the Wizard of the Order afterwards. We'll put a doom on the Wizard of the Order. Okay. All right. Okay, so we move into the investigation phase. That should have be right. Back up again. Zoe's Cross. What a fantastic card. Okay, so here we are with Victoria Devereaux. We failed to fight her last time, so we will try again. But this time it's a 3 versus a 5. 3 versus 5. Chaos Bag gives us +1, so we do 2 points of damage, and Victoria Devereaux is rotating. I'm getting very excited. And ends up in the victory display. Wow. Wow. Look at this. So good. Oh, hold on. This should be 3. So there we go. I'm worried about a level of things. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the hypochondria. I think I just need to slow down a little bit. I think I need to bring out first aid, maybe heal ourselves some. So, because otherwise we might end up dying, and that wouldn't be good. Okay, so we move into the enemy phase. I mean, there is an enemy, of course, but it's the good old Wizard of the Order. We will need to deal with him next time. So we move into the upkeep phase. We get our tokens back. We get another resource. We draw a card, and we get the big cop. Well, that's good. Actually, maybe that means we don't have to heal ourselves after all, because we can get the big cop, and we can move and then hit. Yeah, we'll do that. Fantastic. All right. Sounds like a plan. But before we do that, we're back to the Mythos phase. Let's go back and have a look. We're in turn 11. We're halfway through now. We've only got 4 turns left before midnight, so we need to get a move on if we're going to get to the graveyard at the very least. and get those clues, and hopefully we'll have something like Herman or something. All right, so let's see though what the encounter deck has for us this time. And Hunting Night Gaunt, that really threw a spanner in the works, didn't it? Never mind. Okay, we can deal with that. All right. Okay, we're into the mythos phase. Sorry, we're into the investigation phase. I should have... Do I want to... I think you have to, don't you? Yes. So, yes, that's 1 damage onto the Hunting Night Gaunt. Okay, this is going to delay things a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do is look to evade the Hunting Night Gaunt. 1 versus 2. I'm going to make that a 1 versus a 3. Chaos Bag gives us a 0, thank goodness. So we have evaded the Hunting Night Gaunt as a starting point. Sorry, I've just realised I should have put an extra doom onto the Wizard of the Order. So that was the first thing that we do. What's the Wizard of the Orders? He's a 2, isn't he, versus a 4. Is it going to flip though? If he's got 3 on him, 4. So it'll go up to 5. And then it'll be... No, hold on. At the moment it's 6. So it will go up to 7. Just enough. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so we've got 1 opportunity to kill him, and we can't bring out the beat cop. Oh, this is so annoying because I have 2 choices. I can move, and we can fight the Wizard of the Order. I will be a 5. I could make it a 6. And hopefully I get him. That's not how I want it. Because the other alternative is I only have 3 resources. So I spend 1, bring out the beat cop. Then we have to evade the Hunting Night Gaunt again. No. I don't think we can afford to do that. It's just going to take too much time. So what we do is we move to Miskatonic University. We have the Wizard of the Order engaged with us. And so that was our second action. And then our third action, we will fight the Wizard of the Order. 6 versus 4. Chaos Bag gives us a skull, which I think we're fine because that's 2 doom, I think. Number of doom is 2, so 6 versus 4 succeeds, so the Wizard of the Order is dead. So that did work, thank goodness. But we lost our beat cop again, but it was worth it. It was worth it to get rid of the Wizard of the Order. So there we go. So the first thing we did was evade the Hunting Night Gaunt. We then moved into Miskatonic University, and we then macheted the Wizard of the Order to death. So the next time, with the time we've got left, I'm going to move into the graveyard and get going on getting those clues, which will give us a victory point. And if we're lucky, Herman Collins will turn up. So, but if we can get 1 more victory point, I think we're doing pretty well. Okay, so we move into the enemy phase. There are no enemies that can do anything. So we move into the upkeep phase, flip these, take a resource, draw a card, and we get Taunt, which, yeah, whatever. Yeah, we've just got the Hunting Night Gaunt readies. There he is. He's ready to start Benny Hilling us, so he's going to be someone we're going to have to be just wary of as well. All right. Okay, so let's see what... no, it's the upkeep phase. So let's move into the Mythos phase, back up to here. Turn 12, 5 Doom. We've got 3 more turns to go, and we don't want to hit midnight. So time is of the essence. Okay, let's see what the good old encounter deck has for us, and it has another false lead, which of course we've got no clues, so we will draw again and we get a locked door. So not only has this got obscuring fog, but it's got locked door. This is the safest, most secure university on the planet. Obscuring fog and locked doors. It's not even worth trying. We will just leave it alone. Well, you know what? Can you blame them? So first of all, Miskatonic University got dynamited, which probably caused quite a bit of fog and smoke, you would think, and then they probably locked the place down. So it's not surprising that things went the way that they did. Okay, we're in the investigation phase. We've got 3 actions, so we will spend 2 actions to move to the graveyard. 1, 2. Flip over the graveyard. It has a shroud of 1. After you enter the graveyard, test 3. If you fail, take 2 horror or move to Rivertown. Okay, so we are a 4. Let's make it a 6. In fact, let's make it a 7. 7 versus 3. Chaos Bag gives us a -2, so we succeed, which means we draw a card. And we get another 45 automatic. That should have been... Okay. So we have 1 action left. So I think what we do is it's a 1. So let's use this, because even if we fail it, we lose all our actions. So we're going to use 4 versus 1. I think it's a shroud of 1. Yep. So we just used a 4 versus 1. -3 or better to get this clue. We get an elder sign, which means we succeed. And we get the clue. There we go. So we just got to get 1 more clue next time. There we go. So we got the clue. So that was pretty successful. We just spent 2 goes moving. We successfully, from a willpower perspective, didn't take any more horror. And then we successfully got the clue with the Rite of Seeking. That's the end of our turn. So we move into the enemy phase. And yes, the Hunting Night Gaunt is on the prowl, is moving towards us in Miskatonic University. Move into the upkeep phase. We flip these. We take a resource. We draw a card. And we get another flashlight. So we've got plenty of flashlights, which is great, because that was very handy. Still no allies. Still no Leo. So we move into the Mythos phase. And we're on turn 13. Doom of 6. Yeah, so we've only got 1 or 2 goes left, so yes, time is running out. I think we get this victory point. We see whether it's Herman Collins. If it's not Herman Collins, I suspect we'll probably be resigning, but we'll see how we go. Okay, but first of all, let's see what the good old encounter deck has for us, and it has another Hunting Shadow. You must either spend a clue or take 2 damage. Okay, let's take the 2 damage. I don't like it, but let's do it. We are really a bit on the edge here. Okay, so we're here in the investigation phase. 3 actions. So yeah, so I suppose the first action is let's get this clue from the graveyard. A shroud of 1. We are a 2, but let's just make this a 4. A 1 versus a 4. Chaos Bag gives us a -1, so we succeed, and we get the second clue, and that means fantastic that we get another victory point. Brilliant. So we can put that into the I keep doing that, hitting the wrong button. Into the victory display. There we go. I need those. Oh. There we go. There we go. So we've got another one in the victory display. So we have the 2 clues. So for our second action, let's spend the 2 clues and let's see who we get. There's only 3 left in the cultist deck. If we are lucky, we might get Herman Collins, and we indeed do get Herman Collins. Wow, we get Herman Collins. I've just realised. Oh dear. We do get Herman Collins, but the problem is is because we've got Herman Collins, which we do a damage to Herman. And we can't kill Herman, and we don't have 4 cards. Unfortunately, we can't get rid of Herman. We are on, what turn are we on? We are on turn 6. Go 13. Herman Collins will kill us, and we will go down in the next phase. So I think all that's really left to do, it was unfortunate if we'd actually not thrown in the flashlights. Actually, in hindsight, we shouldn't have thrown in the flashlights, but then again, we may not have got the clue. I should have thought that through a little bit better, in that we should have kept the flashlights. If we'd kept the flashlights, we may not have gotten the clue, but we then could have maybe gotten it the second time, and then we could have gotten Herman Collins. So that was actually, that was really unfortunate that we did that. But, that's the way it goes in the investigator games. Sometimes you make errors without thinking about it. But even if we just had, if we weren't so high on damage, it wouldn't have mattered. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So I think we're going to have to resign. So Zoe is going to have to resign on the final thing, but that's fine because she's done really, really well here. We are in turn 13, and she has managed to get 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 victory points. She managed to defeat 4 cultists, so she did incredibly well. It's just really unfortunate that I just didn't think about that final piece, but that's the way it goes. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Next time, I think we'll be going through the Midnight Masks with, I think it's with Jim, the trumpet player. Let's have a look, actually. We've got it here. We can make the decision based on what we've got here. Where are they? So we're here in the Dunwich Legacy ones. Here we go. So we've done Jenny, we've done Rex. So there is Jim and there is Ashcan Pete. So let's do Jim next time, the Mystic, and then we will finish the Dunwich Legacy on Ashcan Pete. So thank you very much for watching. I'm Krabby Terror 8, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.